Hey everybody, this is Jeremy with the Practical IT channel. Today on Windows Wednesday, we're bringing you Aomei Backupper. This is a backup and cloning system for Windows, and it has some interesting features. We'll look through some of those and hopefully help you decide whether this is something you want to use for your personal backup strategy. I do want to throw out a disclaimer. For making this video, I did receive a license of Aomei Backupper for my own use and to unlock some features so that I could demonstrate them. So let's get started. Their website is located at ubackup.com, and you can download the freeware version from there. They've also got a comparison that shows the features available in the different versions. So the standard version is the freeware. And to get some of the more compelling features, you have to jump up to the professional version. So for instance, it executes tasks faster. For backup, it will back up to DVD or CD, although that's not very relevant in 2021. You've got choice of backup schemes, differential backups, backup dynamic disk, encrypted backup. And I have to say, it's 2021. This should be a default feature. And it's actually something that's included in many open source backup utilities by default. Split backup image is partial. To get full capabilities, you have to go up to the Pro version. For syncing, again, to get the more compelling features, you have to go up to the Pro version. Restore, again, these more compelling features are in the Pro version, as is the same for cloning and for tools. Now this is interesting here. Disk wipe is partial, email is partial for the free version. You can't merge backup images, no access to command line utilities, and some other things. Now this is somewhat filtered, but hopefully this will give you some idea of whether you want to use the freeware version, whether you want to pay for a license, and you would need a license for each PC that you use, each Windows PC that you use. And at $50 a license, that could get expensive if you're on a budget. But enough of this. Let's go ahead and take a look at Aomei Backupper. When you launch the app, you get this screen here and a pop-up, which I don't want to see that again. Okay, so you've got new backup or new sync right from the home screen. For backup, you've got different options here. Again, with sync, you've got different options, and they do a nice job of labeling what features are limited to their Pro version. Restore, you select an image. Clone, again, for a full system clone, you need to be in the Pro version. A disk clone you can use anywhere. And tools. So this is one thing that is particularly interesting to me. They have some options here. Create bootable media. They've got an option for a Linux boot disk or a Windows PE or pre-execute environment boot disk. And so this is where I want to start. I want to start kind of at the end of things, because not many reviews of this software cover the Linux boot disk. So select bootable media. We're going to export it to an ISO file. And doesn't allow you to rename that. Okay, that's fine. We'll work with it. We will say next, and it's going to do its thing. Now, one thing I do not see, and I don't know if this puts them in violation of the GPL or not, but if they are shipping any sort of Linux-based system, then they should be including a link to the GNU public license. Now, I'm not a lawyer and I'm not here to make problems for them. It's one thing that would be good for them to investigate, and it wouldn't, be difficult for them to add a link in this Linux section to the GNU public license. And then it would remove any doubt people might have. Now, if we want to do the same thing with Windows PE, this is a little more involved. Download Windows PE, creating environment from internet. So I'm going to go ahead and check that and say next. And again, we're going to export to ISO file. We're going to say next. And I'm going to pause the video and we'll come back when this is done, and then we'll look at these two items in VirtualBox. All right, through the magic of editing, we are done. We're going to say finish, and we'll go ahead and minimize this for just a moment. And let's open VirtualBox, because I'm curious, and this is something that if I'm curious about it, other people may be curious about it too. So we're going to pick on the Ubuntu server VM that I've got here. We're going to go into settings, storage, come over to the disk, I'm going to create, add, desktop, and LNX, I'm sure is the Linux version. I'm going to say choose, OK, and start this. Grabbing an IP address. Okay, so it's running X. And mouse is not terribly responsive. Okay, so this may work much better on a physical machine. For VirtualBox, it's got some issues. And it appears that they tried to do some sort of mimicking of what their Windows system looks like. Let's see. I can't even get the mouse cursor up to the menu or some of these other options. So that to me is not terribly helpful. I've used several open source tools that work just as well in a VM as they do on physical hardware. And if I were going to pay for a tool, that is something that I would be asking questions about. So, but for grins, let's change the storage. And we'll change this to use the Windows PE version and see if that works any differently. Choose OK. Start. Okay, it's loading its Windows pre-execution environment. And this should boot into something. It appears I at least have more control over the mouse. So this may be usable for Windows scenarios. I'm just curious. And so yeah, it boots enough of Windows that you get basically the whole program available here. And of course, you have to install it in Windows so you can go through the registration, so that when you create these ISO images, that the registration number will be included in a configuration file, and you can have access to the additional features. Okay, so we've taken a look at that. That's all in good. I may do some additional testing on the Linux version just to see if I can get it to behave in a more realistic and predictable manner. But right now I have some serious reservations about the Linux boot media that it creates. So let's go ahead and power that off. So if we bring this back up, if we want to do a backup, and for instance, if we want to do a system backup, this is going to back up everything on the hard drive, and we've got the options of a local path or a network location. And by default, I do not keep remote network locations connected to my machine unless I actually need them. And I do like that they give you the option to add, share, or NAS device. We're going to call this QNAP, and this is 55 slash. There we go. Okay, so it does in fact give us the listing. We're going to go into test 1. There's not actually anything in there right now, so we're going to say okay. We're just going to accept that folder as a place to put this backup. We're going to look at options. Backup mode. Enable encryption. Obviously, we can't do that in the free version. Email notification. And that's something we've got to do in settings. Command. Pre-command, post-command. Advanced. Compression. I'm going to select normal. It's going to slow things down, but it will save us some space. Splitting. Automatic is fine. Operation priority normal. And I think we're good on all that. Say okay. We're going to say start backup. And this is going to take some time. So I will be back when this is finished. Okay, it's been a while. I am going to go ahead and cancel this backup process at this point, just so we can get this video finished. Yes, I want to cancel. So now I'm going to upgrade to the licensed version. To register the next version, or a paid version, you can come to the 3 dots, and you can say register. And this is where you'd paste in your license key. So I'm going to see if we can't copy this in. register, registration successful. Okay, so as you can see now, the upgrade is gone here. We are now running the professional version. And if we look at tools, we can see some of this is available that was not before, such as the Aomei Pixie Boot tool. And again, Partition Assistant, the free version of Partition Assistant, and things are also available. We've also unlocked some of the features, such as the syncing, which some of these were not available in the free version, as well as the additional backup options. So let's say we want to, for instance, do a file backup. We're going to add a folder. And we want the documents. Shouldn't have too much in here. We're going to say open. And for the destination, we're going to use the folder we had previously set up for the QNAP NAS. And we're going to say start backup. And this should move a little quicker than doing the image type backup. But I'm going to go ahead and pause this. This time I will let this run to its finish, and then we will talk through a few other details and wrap this up. Okay, so we've wrapped up the file backup. And their backup process for syncing is relatively the same. So as you can see from the home screen here, we've got my file backup, which makes it easy to run the same thing again. You can modify the backup and add other files to it, you know. Same basic backup functions that you find in other things. For syncing, again, this has very similar features to something like SyncThing. And so, you know, you just want to make sure that this is going to suit your needs. You can schedule sync, you've got different options, and again, you've got some advanced options that are available. So, what is my overall feeling on this product? Well, that is really multifold. So if you are less technical, this makes a good backup solution at a reasonable price, especially when you factor in that the updates are listed as lifetime. So again, if we look at the comparison, you've got lifetime upgrades on all the products. That makes it more compelling. If you are primarily a Windows user and don't have other types of systems in your home, this makes a good backup product. If you are trying to find an inexpensive solution for a friend, family member, coworker that you help from time to time with their computer needs, this makes a great backup solution. In my particular use case, if I'm being completely honest, I've got 2 Windows PCs, multiple Macs, and multiple Linux machines. In my particular use case, to me, this would not make sense. However, this is something that I will keep in my arsenal of software products for potential use for recommendations for other people. Okay, so we've got that out of the way. How do we handle questions about this product moving forward? So if you have questions before you buy, as you can see here on your screen, you can contact sales at AOMEITech.com. If you've got the professional or better version and not the freeware, you've got 24/7, 365 support. For technician or higher, you've got priority support. For the standard freeware version, you've got support available during business hours. And they do have a forum where you can ask questions. I do want you to feel free to pose questions down in the comment section. However, I am not technical support for Aomei, and if those comments become increasingly technical in nature or time-consuming in nature, the response will simply be to contact Aomei. Again, you've got a forum where you can go in and search for solutions and try to get support that way. Or you've also got the email contacts where you can contact support at AOMEITech.com. And that will bring us to the end of our review. So I would be interested in hearing from you, my viewers, if this is a solution that would work in your particular situation. Whether it be for your home PC, or if you might recommend this to a friend or family member or coworker as a simple solution to the backup problem. And on that note, I want to wrap this up. I want to say thank you, especially to all those who made it to the end of the video. And with that, thank you once again. I'll see you in the next video. Have a great day.